You're listening to I Love It When, and I'm your host, Mo. I'm a speaker, coach, and connector. You're in the right place if you're looking for some inspiration and you're ready to truly embrace who you are. My intention with this podcast is to help you see that you are so much more powerful than you realize. Hello, hello. Welcome to the I Love It When podcast. I'm your host, Mo. Welcome to a solo episode. I have been thinking now for a couple of weeks about what I want to talk about in the new year. Welcome to 2026. Although I have to tell you, I'm not paying as close attention to this Gregorian calendar in terms of feeling. Like I know it's 2026, everybody's writing the date. We're in that space, but I'm really trying to follow more of the cycle of the earth. And so I'm still in hibernation. I'm moving slowly. I have not set my goals or intentions for 2026 yet. So I just want you to know that if you're in that space where you feel like I just don't have the energy to gear up and be, wow, look at this. Okay. I can't remember if I said this the last podcast episode, but I've noticed that whenever I'm talking about energy or anything where the frequency gets high, my video goes out. I haven't had it happen yet on a solo episode. It's been happening mostly when I'm on Zoom with other practitioners or if I'm doing energy healings on here. So it's going to be funny because it might happen a lot today because I feel pretty jacked up and excited to talk to you all today. So yeah, so I'm still living by that calendar. The Chinese New Year starts mid-February, I believe. And so we're still in that year of the snake, shedding things that we no longer need. So if you find yourself moving slower, not really feeling motivated to set goals or intentions yet for the next year, sit in that and be okay with it and just know that you're not alone in that space. I've really been intentional about moving at the pace that my body feels it wants to and trusting that it's okay. For a long time, this even came across through a reading that I had when I did a past life channeling with Ann Totaro. I've had her on the podcast. And in one of those readings, actually, I probably did four with her. And one of them, we didn't even end up going into past lives. My higher self just wanted to speak to me. And when we first went to talk to her, she was like a fairy, which doesn't surprise me because I was a fairy in a past life for sure. And she was spinning, and so fast. And she was so tired. And Anne, as she does so gracefully in these sessions, she said to me, well, she feels like she can't stop because if she stops, she might not be able to get up again. And that is just a reflection of often how I have felt in the past. And in the last 5 years, I've been unwinding this. But before that, I always felt like if I slow down and I actually stop, what if I can't get going again? And now that I own my own business, money isn't generated unless I'm actively working my business. And so, where is that flow? When is the pause and when is the go? And can I actually really fully pause? So, anyways, I have been pausing the last couple of weeks and truly enjoying my time with Tom and my family and just having time to really stop. So it's been nice. So if you've been feeling something similar, I just want to encourage you to sit in that and be with that because it's real. And our bodies, especially as women, we are very much cyclical. And if you don't know this already, men run on a 24-hour cycle, whereas women run on a 30-day cycle. So it's very different. All right, so there's a couple different things that I want to talk about in this episode today and share with you. I have some things that I want to share about specific things that changed my life in 2025. I have a routine for reflection that I want to share with you that I do every year. I want to talk about this little mini retreat that I did with Tom, and then some aha moments for me from 2025. And then towards the end, probably I'll pull three cards for whoever's listening, for the collective of people listening. I'll pull three cards for us for 2026. So that's kind of what I have on deck for today. I have been going back and forth on what this episode should be about for the last couple of weeks, probably a month almost. I actually took that last week off in December and didn't publish an episode. Again, another just reflection of me really leaning into what feels good. And I have some awesome, really fantastic guests coming up. So after this solo episode, next you'll be hearing from Crystal Novak again. She's been on my podcast before, but this time is exceedingly special. She's coming back on to talk about her new book that she just published. And in fact, let me go get it real quick. All right, I'm back. I went and grabbed her book from my room. I just got my copy the other day off Amazon, Remembering Who You Are, A Spiritual Guide to Healing, Freedom, Empowerment, and Living Your Soul's Truth by Crystal Novak. So I'm going to have her on to specifically talk about the book. And along with the book, she also has just started a community. So you can go to her website, which is iknowstuff.me, and just Google I Know Stuff, Crystal Novak, and it'll pop up. And there should be a link there if you're interested in her community. She just started, I think she already has close to 10 people. And the founding price was $38 a month, which is ridiculously, insanely cheap. And I know it's going to go up. It might have already gone up, but check it out. She's going to be meeting, offering a Zoom call once a month, along with other videos around the content in her book that she'll be sending out. So it's a fantastic space that she's created to learn. So I'm going to have her on to talk about that. I'm also going to have someone on who her name is Brianna. I was like, how much should I tell you? And I met her probably 6 to 8 months ago now at a MeWe fair, Metaphysical Wellness Fair. And she used to be an opera singer, and she has now started to do energy work through singing with groups in the Seattle area and all over. She goes all over the place. And so she's going to come on to talk about her business and her mission and what she's doing. So these next couple of episodes are going to be really fun to get us going in this new year. All right, so I think today I want to start off by sharing with you the three main things that I took away from 2025 that really shifted me. And I'm going to share with you this process that I did for reflection because I want you to know that I'm not very good at it. Reflection has been hard for me because one, like I said earlier, it's hard for me to slow down and stop. It's definitely been a skill that I've had to cultivate, and I've that doing that through meditation has been helpful. And then also, when you stop to reflect and you reap the benefits of it, that in itself is very motivating to me to continue to reflect. And so I might have shared this on the podcast. I think I did. A couple of years ago, when I had a retreat in Sedona, I went to see an angel communicator after the retreat. And she said something to me that I've never forgotten. One of the messages from Spirit through my meeting with her was for me to start taking stock and really reflecting on how much I've accomplished every single week. And so, if you can imagine for someone who's not used to reflecting and pausing more than really just even once a year and not really doing it personally ever, I was like, once a week? What? And then the angel communicator said, and I think her name was Michelle or Melissa. She said, put it on your calendar, start to build the habit. But essentially, you pausing to take stock of how much you've done and how far you've come is going to be the rocket fuel for what's coming next. That was motivating to me. And so ever since then, for like the last 3 years, I have had an appointment on my calendar for every Monday at 11 a.m., whether I do it or not. And it just says taking stock. And so my goal was to just build this habit of pausing to remind myself of all the things that I've done because I take a lot of action and oftentimes I don't always like feel like I get the results that I want. And so it can be disheartening to continue. And so over the years, these last 2 years, especially as I've been doing this more often, I don't do it every week, but it does encourage me to think about it, even if it's just for 2 minutes that week. And what I've noticed is that I'm now probably to the point where maybe once a month, I'm even going to a coffee shop or outside the home and I'm thinking about the last 3 months, or it's become more a part of my life, which is really nice. So I say all this to say that I want you to know that this message and this encouragement to reflect is coming from someone who had a really hard time doing it in the beginning. But the benefit of it, and really I think the purpose for it, is to take the time to actually learn the lessons that we went through and reflect and see if any other lessons come from that reflection. Because every time I do this, every year when I reflect on the last year, I go back through month by month, which I'm going to show you here in a minute, and I look at themes. I look at relationships I've had with people. And if there's a theme that comes up with those relationships, like if we had conflict and it was the same, I look for themes like that to show me, okay, where in my life is there still something for me to improve on? Like what issues am I running up into or running up against that have not shifted or changed? Because that's a sign to me that's something for me to lean into. And so when I was doing my reflection over the last month, something became very clear to me. My body has been needing a shift for a long time. I'm 44 years old, and I think I'm in that like pre-menopause area for sure. I'm sure I've been there for longer than I even know. But for probably 10 plus years, I have had this feeling and this knowing that when I did hot yoga and when I worked out and just going throughout my day-to-day life, I was not hydrated enough. I was not all I could say was that it felt like the water was not reaching my cells. And I told this to some people around me. I mean, as I started to meet more energy healers, I would say this, and um, I got suggestions to try like I forget what it's called, but it's like a mixture of coconut water with orange juice, and you can put like a splash of a couple different things to create kind of a cocktail that helps your body to accept hydration. And that worked, you know, a little bit for when I was sick, or I felt like it would give me a boost, but I didn't want to drink orange juice all the time, or I just felt like it's still not cutting it for me. And so I knew that there were some things I needed to do for my body aside from I had gone gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free back in 2021, and that had helped to reduce inflammation in my body and helped me to just my stomach to feel better overall. But I knew there was more changes that needed to happen. So I knew at some point I had it in my mind that I wanted to meet with a nutritionist, that I knew I wanted to meet with someone who could help me fuel my body well, because I have a feeling I'm going to be out speaking and doing a lot more in public in the coming years, and I want to be able to fuel my body correctly. And so I was waiting for the right person to show up. And in around August this year, I did a meditation for my root chakra, and I asked my root chakra, what do you need in order to thrive in this physical world? And I got the image of Samantha Westerwill, who's a local Ayurvedic yoga therapist, and I got water, just the word water. And so I was like, okay, I'm supposed to meet with Samantha. And so this year, I that session with Samantha changed me completely, changed my body forever, for the rest of my life. Uh, Getting my emotion code certification was the second thing. And the third thing are the LifeWave X39 patches. So I added it up, and in total, I spent $367 on myself in 2025. That has forever changed my body composition, my mental, emotional, spiritual, financial health. It's changed everything. And so I thought that was a cool bit to share with you guys. It was $17 for the emotion code book. You can go out, get it yourself, do it for yourself and your friends and family anytime. The consultation with Samantha was $230. And then wow, there goes my screen again. And then the third thing are the LifeWave patches. The X39 patches are $99 a month, basically, plus shipping. So it comes out to about $118. I put 120 with tax and everything. So that adds up to $367. And now that I've purchased a motion code and the yoga consultation, now it's just the LifeWave patches at $120 a month. And it's doing more for my body than my health insurance ever did. The energy I'm now circulating, which is prompting me to heal on levels that I've never healed before. Like between the water with salt that Samantha suggested and the LifeWave patches, I'm now having hydration in parts of my body that I don't think have been fully hydrated in 10 plus years. So I wanted to share that because those are three critical pieces to 2025 that I believe came to me at a time when I needed it to prepare for what's coming. Now, my routine for reflection, what helped me find those things, those three things that changed me. I just kind of want to just say too, okay, $367. That's it for lifelong change. I want you to really think about what are you spending financially on other parts of your life that you're not willing to spend on yourself? Because for very little money, literally under $500, I've changed my life forever. So I often talk to people about my retreats and about these different opportunities that I've created for people to come together and change in really big ways. And one of the number one objections I usually get from people who can't come or say they can't come is that they can't afford it. And while I understand that money is really hard, believe me, I've been there myself for the last 5 years. It's all about how you prioritize it. And so when you stop to reflect and look at how you're prioritizing your money and what you're putting it towards, you will surprise yourself if you choose to say yes to an experience, whether it be my retreat, someone else's, or something else that's going to serve you in a healthy way. The money will appear. The money will come to you. It always does. So I just want to challenge you to think a little bit differently about how you spend your money and how you think about it this year. So my routine for reflection is something I came up with for my clients 5 years ago that I just started using myself. And I actually it was just one day in a coffee shop with a notepad of paper, and I decided to put all 12 months on one sheet and create a square for each month. And in that month, I put a high from that month, a lesson, how much money I had or made that month netted, and then how many clients I had that month in terms of coaching clients. So I'm going to share my screen here to show you what that looks like. And if you're interested in this PDF, if you want a copy for yourself, just shoot me an email at mo@iloveitwhen.org and I will email you this PDF. Hello, I Love It When listeners. I have a special announcement for you. The Unplug from Fear retreat was a huge success, and thus we are hosting another one in February 2026, and tickets are already live for sale on my website. I have never experienced a retreat like our first Unplug from Fear retreat just last month in September. I felt so invigorated, energized, and excited. I knew I wanted to set the date for the next retreat as soon as I woke up the next day. This has never happened to me before. You can go to iloveitwhen.org to purchase your ticket today and check out the testimonials from previous attendees and speakers. I cannot wait to see you there. All right, so you should be able to see it just says reflection at the top, and then I always put a quote around it. You become what you believe, decide, and act upon. And it's just, this is it, you guys. It's very simple. And I always tell people you can add whatever you want. If there's something else you want to look back and track, like maybe if you wanted to travel a certain number of times this last year, you could track that. Sometimes I will track uh, different things like themes, like how did I feel during particular months. So I just wanted to show that quickly for those of you that are watching on YouTube. And if you're not, you're listening, again, just feel free to text me or email me and I can send you that PDF for free. So I pull out that PDF every year, and I typically like to go outside of my house and sit somewhere new, somewhere that opens me up to new information and new energy. And I like really big open spots or spaces. So ideally, if I can rent a VRBO on the water or in the mountains, it's where I love to go. This year, I just went to a coffee shop and I used my calendar and I used the photos that I have on my phone and I used my dream journal to remind myself of what happened. So I go through starting with January 2025, and I look to see, okay, what appointments did I have in my calendar? Which coaching clients did I have? I look up my money that month. And then I go to my photos in my phone to remind myself of the different adventures I went on with Tom or things that happened. And then I look at my dream journal. I decided this year for the first time to actually write out briefly because I keep all of my notes of my dreams in my phone. So on the back of the reflection PDF, I wrote out month by month, just shorthand, the dreams that I had and what they were about to see if there were any themes that came up, which was really cool. And I did notice that there were themes of towards the end of the year, 2025, I started having more dreams with actually extended family members in them, which is really interesting. So I look for patterns, I look for themes after I've written everything out, and I look for things that I want to stop doing. So having a stop doing list is a really cool idea. Basically, things that you really don't enjoy that you don't have to be doing, either yourself, you can delegate to someone else, or you just don't want to do them anymore. So, what are some things that I really don't enjoy that I need to stop doing? And then what are some things I want to continue and maybe do more of? And then is there anything new I want to introduce? And then I take this PDF and I share it out loud with Tom through our mini retreat time. So the last couple of years, we've started doing a mini retreat. It's usually a couple of hours on a day during the week or the weekend. This time, we actually ended up taking an entire weekend, which was really cool. But it didn't even feel like it was obligatory because it just kind of happened. Our plan was to meet for a few hours on a Saturday, and that turned into us going to the grocery store and the library, and we just started talking while we were there. I mean, when I tell you we had a mini retreat planned, I had an agenda. I had things set out at home. Like I had an actual little agenda for us to follow, but we didn't follow it, which was perfect because I always believe that when guidance comes in like that, you just follow it. And so we just started chatting when we were driving around running some errands, and we ended up talking that whole day until probably like 6 o'clock at night. And so I share out loud with Tom what I found through my PDF. And this is really important because sharing and voicing, putting voice to what you found, I believe can release blocks in your body. And so Tom and I have found that whenever we take the time to share with each other, things always come up that we don't expect. Sometimes emotion comes up and it gives us an opportunity to release, which is the whole point of this exercise too. So this mini retreat, again, you can do this with yourself. I did this by myself when I was single, or I would ask a couple friends to do it with me. Um, I used this reflection PDF. I had ideas on the agenda, like I wanted to do this EFT tapping video about releasing. I wanted to do a meditation where I visualized what I want to have happen in 2026. I want to burn and release the old. So actually write down on pieces of paper things I'm letting go of and burn it. I want to pull cards. I usually pull tarot or oracle cards. I want to set intentions. And some of the themes that came up that Tom and I talked about were the theme of money and love. And this came up as we were talking in the car. It was totally unplanned. And we started going through our money stories. Like, how did we learn about money? And then what did our personal, like romantic relationships look like through our life alongside money? What was our money doing at the time we were dating or in relationship with a particular person? It was fascinating. So I really want to encourage you to try that. The other thing that came up for me frequently was messages around my frequency. And so I kept seeing messages, whether it would be the random tarot video I watched on YouTube, or cards that I pulled for myself. I kept seeing messages about raising my frequency. And it also reminded me of, at the retreat, the Unplugged from Fear retreat, there was a message that came through to me from uh, an alien. And I don't know if it was Pleiadian or Arcturian, but there was an alien that came through a multidimensional portal when Crystal Novak was and Kai were doing my energy healing. And I remember Crystal saying, if you want to talk to Margaret, you're going to have to come down a couple levels to her frequency. Like I'm not quite at that level where I can communicate with them. And so I kept feeling like, okay, what else can I do to raise my frequency? And if this sounds like a foreign language to you, don't worry. It's okay. You can listen back to some of my other podcast episodes and get more information about this. But essentially, I like to think of our bodies like a live wire, an electrical wire. And when there are blocks in the wire, it stops our frequency from flowing smoothly. So if you have old stuck energy, like old emotions that you have not let go of, old traumas, things like that, that can all create breaks or blocks in your energy flow. And so I was thinking to myself, okay, what else could I do? And so I've started to do meditations that just have frequency healing in them. And I also really love this Isis Oracle deck that I have. And this was another confirmation I got. I pulled an Isis card on the day that Tom and I did this little mini retreat, and the card that I got was about frequency. And each of the Isis cards in this deck have a little ritual that go along with them. So I've been doing that frequency ritual as well. So it's been fascinating. So there were some really beautiful things that came out of this year's reflection that just are really going to inform, I believe, how I move forward. Some of the other aha moments for me of 2025, I just shared one. Sometimes all you need to do is speak and share about something in order to release a block. I think sometimes we get caught up as humans in believing that it has to be a ritual or it has to be some long, drawn out experience. And sometimes it's just speaking it and letting it out of your body. And so if you find that you have a hard time sharing or speaking up about things with people around you, then I would recommend finding a therapist or finding someone that you can share things with where you don't really need to find a result or you don't need them to fix anything, but you just need someone to hold space for you, because that can be super powerful. The second aha moment for me that I wrote down was you are a frequency. So, what I just talked about, like addressing any blocks that you might have in your frequency, the goal is to keep your frequency flowing and clear. The other aha moment was that I released a lot in 2025. The 2025 was definitely a year of shedding for me, shedding things that just no longer serve me, letting go of things that just aren't in alignment anymore. So it feels good. At the same time, it can be hard at times, right? As I mentioned, my dreams also got more involved later in the year. Channeling was a theme that came up in my dreams. So I've shared some of my dreams on the podcast before, but something that's come up, I think, three different times this year was I have had dreams where in the dream, I know that I am channeling spirit. Meaning, like when you channel, and we all do it, by the way, all of us. I feel like when I'm speaking to a group of people, I I channel more than I realize, which just means I get messages and I speak them. There can be conscious and unconscious channeling. Unconscious channeling, if I said that right, I believe, is when you step back and you let an entity or a being come in and speak through you. That has always kind of freaked me out, but it happens and I believe in it. And I'm a conscious channel, meaning like I stay with my body and I bring messages through. And so channeling came up where I was channeling in the dream several different times this year. And then there was also, this has been happening for many years, where in dreams I'm facing spirits that have a negative energy and I'm casting them out of the house or I'm casting them away from me. And this has always been a theme for probably like 3 or 4 years now. Um, so that's just been interesting for me to recognize the, oh, I love the word that Tom uses, oh, there goes my screen again. I have a lot of agency. That's it. I have a lot of agency in my dreams and I take action. And it has reminded me to have a lot of faith and a lot of uh, strength because I have so much strength in my dreams. And then that other theme that I mentioned earlier about a lot of my extended family coming and showing up is an interesting one. But I think the further along I get in my journey in energy healing, being an energy healer and speaking about energy, the more some of the people around me who have known me for my whole life are questioning what's going on. Why, what's Margaret talking about? Why is she doing this? And so in the dream, one of my family members actually said, Margaret, why are you doing what you do? Why don't you just do art or something? He literally said this in the dream. And I spoke back to them and I said, I'm doing this because I love people and I hate bullies. I hate hate. I want to love. And then I woke up and I was like, wow, I was almost crying when I woke up because I was crying so hard in the dream. And so when things like that happen, I have to write it down. And it just is definitely a sign to me that I'm probably challenging some people's beliefs around what I'm doing. The other theme that came up, the other aha moment for me was some sort of a connection with an alien, right? Through either Pleiadians or Arcturians that I need to explore further. I have further reduced my bills this year. So every year I learn more and more about money. I learn more about how to keep my frequency stable when I feel unstable in the physical world. I had a burnout prevention and recovery workshop in the Marysville, Washington area with the Greater Marysville Tulalip Chamber of Commerce, and it was a huge success. And I loved doing it. I loved speaking to that group. I loved being able to share. And so it was a great reminder to me to do that more often. So I want to speak more in 2026 at events. And then the last thing that I wanted to share was I have been doing these for really since I started my business, but it's just never been an offering on my website before. I do these strategy and clarity sessions for clients that's become popular. And so I've decided to officially make that an offering on my website. I probably should have done it like 3 years ago, but now's the time. And it's a usually a 3 hour session. And I lead people through, it's usually with executives of the company, and I lead people through exercises to tap back into their heart and their intuition. And then we do an exercise where I use popsicle sticks to help them sort out all of the tasks that are happening in their business to see who is doing what and if they need to hire a new person, who that person is. So it's been very helpful because for a lot of visual and kinesthetic learners, it gets everything out of their head and into something physical, which changes how they look at their business. And so these sessions have been awesome and they're really fun and people love them because it's a great way to, I think, give yourself some real clarity about what you might need to shift in your business. Um, which happens with people when they coach with me as well. It just depends on what they're looking for. But these sessions are great for people who want something like this with their partners, if they have a partner in the business, or if they want to bring their executive assistants into it. I just did one yesterday with a New York City team, and it was two agents and both of their assistants. And it was fabulous. It was awesome. And one of the reasons I started doing it was because I have found that the popsicle stick activity in particular helps to create the conversation and helps to get rid of miscommunication between people who are visionaries and the people who implement or actually take the action. So it's been fantastic. So I just wanted to mention that. So that's a bit about what I learned in 2025 and the things that shifted me. I now want to pull three cards for us for 2025 and see what kind of a message we get. So, one moment, please. Hello, I love it when listeners. I want to take a moment to share with you something that I've added to my daily routine that is changing my life. It's about the size of a band-aid and it's called LifeWave. If you struggle with stress, pain, or sleep, these might be something you want to try. LifeWave patches are non-medicated and made of organic materials. Therefore, no substances like chemicals or drugs enter the body. And using your own body heat and light, the patch reflects your own light back into your body and can improve skin appearance and confidence, enhance sports performance, improve mental clarity, help you to relax, improve your sleep, better manage stress, support a healthy cardiovascular system, and more. I'm personally using them right now to heal the varicose veins in my legs, which have gotten progressively worse in the last 10 years. You wear them for 12 hours on, 12 hours off. I put one on when I get up in the morning and then I take it off right before I go to bed. I highly recommend checking out the Eon and the X39 patch to begin with. The X39 patch is the world's first and only patented technology that uses a phototherapy system to improve strength and stamina without drugs or stimulants. The other thing I really appreciate about LifeWave is that they've made it very accessible. You can get started for as low as $100 a month and see the impact on your health. LifeWave has been around since 2004 and has over 200 patents as of March 2025. If you're curious about how this technology could help you, check out the link in my show notes or on my website and reach out with any questions. I have also officially started a team, so if you're interested in selling these patches as a part of my team, I'd love to connect with you about it. Okay, I took a moment to shuffle the cards and ask what does the I Love It When collective need to know for 2026? And super interesting. Three cards that came out. And this is from my favorite Oracle deck, the Energy Oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. I love them. Still my favorite. Woman holding a coin. So she's got a black cat there and a coin. And then man holding a heart. And then the second chakra, Archangel Ariel. Second chakra is orange, all about passion and creativity. So if we look at the woman holding the coin first, this card speaks to a female connection in money, health, or value. So it could mean either there's some assistance coming for you from a woman in your life that you know or that you don't know. And so it talks about being conscious and aware of the people in your life who might be trying to help you. And the affirmation is the world supports me in my financial goals. I am making synchronistic connections that serve and honor me. And then the man holding a heart is a male dealing with family, love, or emotions. And so there could be a man coming into your life romantically, or it could be about the presence of a new man in your life, either your career or your personal life, who's going to help you and brings a high intention to help you where your personal projects, family, or home issues are concerned. The affirmation is I'm comfortable with all of my emotions. I honor and express them in appropriate ways. I feel peace. And then that last card is the second chakra, like I mentioned, Archangel Ariel. It's all about intimacy and creativity. The second chakra vibrates in the energy of the beautiful angel Ariel. She sends a bright orange energy, promoting inspired creativity and greater comfort with intimacy. When this card appears upright, it's urging you to get creative. This is also a time when the energies of closeness with others and nurturing yourself can flow more freely. You can now open yourself to the emotional intimacy that may be coming your way. The affirmation is my second chakra is open to its perfect, healthy state. I am creative and self nurturing, more and more comfortable with the gentle waves of intimacy coming my way. So, what I find fascinating is that I don't think I've ever seen these two cards come up at the same time, the man holding the heart and the woman holding the coin. So, very much, I think, speaks to obviously money and love, the feeling, the energy of love. is the energy of money, which is interesting since this is actually a theme now that I'm saying this out loud, right? Speaking it out loud. This is the theme that Tom and I talked about in our mini retreat. That's hysterical. And then the second chakra, I've actually been working on myself, opening up more and more to intimacy and creativity. And so that's fabulous that that came through. The more we open up our frequency to and allow things to flow and unblock ourselves, the more creativity is able to flow in and circulate, which is the whole goal. So I love that for us. 2026. Okay. So if anything came up for you in this episode that you're curious about, please feel free to reach out and ask me about it. I do these solo episodes, one, because I have been called to. I've always had a calling to speak more, even though I never thought in my life I would be a speaker. And I do these episodes because sometimes I realize that I'm not the best with sharing. You might be like, what, Margaret? You're such a sharer. Well, I didn't used to be. And so sometimes I don't realize that the things that I do could be helpful for people. And so part of the reason I have this podcast is to share things like this that I do with you in case you've never thought about it, and to know that you can create your own retreat. You can do it yourself. Most people just don't take the time to, or find it feels strange to decide, hey, I'm going to spend time on myself for a day. I challenge you to do it. Create your own opportunity for reflection. The more you step into creating these opportunities for yourself, rather than waiting for something to happen for you or waiting for someone else to plan it, the more you'll find will come to you creatively. Wow, I can't even speak. The more you create these opportunities, the more will flow to you and the more magnetic you'll become. So if you are looking for an experience that is going to take you to the next level, try creating one for yourself and see what happens. You can use some of my suggestions of what I did, and then I would encourage you to think about things that you love to do. And, maybe that's dance, which I also love to do. Maybe that's some sort of movement. Maybe that's breath work. Create a little mini retreat day for yourself and include breath work. So let me know if there's any questions you have about anything that I did. I would love to hear from you. Let me know what you're going to try. If you end up trying the emotion code, or if you'd like an emotion code session with me, I book sessions weekly for people. Let me know if you try the LifeWave patches. I saw somebody had just commented on one of my last podcasts. Actually, I was so excited. They commented and said that they were going to try LifeWave, and so they just ordered their first pack of the X39 patches. So I was like, yes. My God, when you tell me that you're actually listening and you comment on my videos, it gives me so much joy, just so you know. So please comment. If you've been listening and you haven't commented, please comment because it shows me that people are actually listening. And sometimes it feels like I'm just speaking to myself here. So thank you so much for taking action on the things that I suggest. I promise you that I only share the things that I felt have truly been a benefit to me. So thank you so much, and I will see you on the next episode with Crystal Novak.